Martin bit. That's about the third time I seen Puello fight a fight that I thought he lost, and they gave him the decision. I thought Martin beat him. I really did. Martin fought a good fight, man. I'm not gonna say I feel bad, but boxing. But I thought he edged the fight. Who knows?
Mm.
What'd you think? What did you
I
see the fight?
Yeah, I did, and I thought my thing won too. I didn't even expect
Yeah,
him to fight that type of fight either.
yeah. I thought he won the fight, but you never know what the judge is looking at, man. You never know,
100%. Yeah, and it's sad because my thing has had the short end of the stick in a few different fights as well.
man.
From
Yes, he
that,
has. His whole career could be different. His whole career could be different had he got a couple of those decisions.
hmm
Man,
step aside money, to lots of different things.
yeah. And listen, he arguably had victories over Teofimo and Puello. I mean, where would he be right now if he got those two decisions?
We would be talking about him, holding down. Damn, you're right.
No, right? You talk about
Yeah,
misfortune. He'll be on top. He'll be on top of the world right now, man. That's
yeah.
boxing. Boxing is a heartbreaking sport because he could have easily got both of those decisions and nobody would have said nothing.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Getting into the next title fight, uh Antoine versus Rayu Venezuela. Probably one of the most dominant performances of the night. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I always been big on Gary Antoine Russell. I always told you
100%.
that he was the real deal. I don't think Puelo beat him. Uh, so um, he had a great performance. That's all I can say. That was a great performance.
Um, Tell me what do you think he did to be so successful in that fight?
He just displayed his talent, and he was boxing going forward. People always equate the person that's going forward as a guy not boxing. Then we keep using all these UK terms. Back foot, bro. You just boxing going forward, or you boxing going away. Like I hate that term, but he just be boxing. You know what I mean? He was just boxing going forward, using his hand speed. He wasn't even trying to punch hard. He was just trying to just touch him. He just had the more talent. You know what I mean? He just he's just a more talented fighter. Shout out to El Rayo though, because he held up under some a lot of punishment. But Russell was just, he just showed his class. Russell is a guy that if he would have been more active, he'd probably be on a pound for pound list.
Those that's heavy right there.
Hmm.
That's heavy right there, and it's true. He doesn't have that many fights as a pro.
He's only 18-1, right?
Mhm.
If he was more active, and because he comes out 2016 Olympics, so he's been a pro 9 years. You know what I'm saying? With 19 fights. If he had more fights, if he had like 25 to 30 fights and have like, more momentum and title defenses, he was like a champion already, he'd be a pound for pound guy. And guys don't want to fight him. He can fight.
I wonder what that is. You know what I mean? Why didn't PBC, push him? You know what I mean? He got a
I
great name
can't
from his big brother.
I can't say. And he was an Olympian. I have no idea why. I don't know. I don't like to even blame people on stuff that I don't know why, but I know what I'm looking at, and he's 100% a pound for pound talent. What happens behind the scenes on his business side, I don't really know, but he can fight. I mean, I don't know what 140 would be favored over him right now, including Puelo, who beat him.
Mm.
You know what I
So you
mean?
got
Because
him. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Puelo's not winning his fights convincingly, even though he can box. He's a good fighter. He's not winning his fights convincingly, and I think that even though Russell lost to him, Russell would be the favorite if they was to fight in a unification fight.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you say that?
Because I think Russell's just a better fighter. I think more people think that Russell won the fight when they first fought than think that he lost the fight. And I think that now that he's seen the style or whatever, I think he'll come back better. And if they was to fight in the unification, I think Russell would beat him.
Mm. I like this. I like this. So you believe that Russell's the top champion?
at 140.
That's right.
I didn't say that. Let me
No,
think.
okay. We
It's
got Teofimo,
Teofimo,
Richardson,
who- Richard Hitchens. Who else?
Puello.
Puello. Uh, yeah, I do.
I know. That's why I asked. I was like,
Yeah, I do. I think him and Teofimo is about 50-50. He had to be careful with Teofimo. Teofimo like guys that come to him, and Teofimo do good with southpaws. He did good with Loma and
local.
did good with Josh Taylor. So he will have that's about 50-50. I think he's better than Puello, even though Puello got the decision, so I rate him over him. Richard Hitchens got one of the best jabs and he got some of the best balance in boxing. But I think that Russell is a bad matchup for him. I think that he will force him to fight a little bit too much and take him out of his comfort zone. And I think that Russell also has higher amateur pedigree, which does matter in close fights. I think he was the better amateur.
He
Um,
beat Richardson in the amateurs twice.
yeah, that's why I said that. I think he was the better amateur. And I don't know if Hitchens can deal with his pace like that. And some of the best things Hitchens does is use his jab, but fighting a southpaw, I think that Russell would nullify his jab a little bit. So stylistically, I think that Hitchens matches up better with Teofimo than he does Russell. So I would say Russell is probably the top guy. Yeah.
Then
Yep.
then then you have what, like Richardson Teo.
No, you gotta respect T.O. You gotta respect Teofimo. You know what I mean? Put aside all of the outside the ring antics. He beat the man. You know what I mean? He beat the man. He got the best resume. He's the ring champion, lineal champion. You got to respect that, regardless of what you may think of him or whatever other things like the Sandar Martin decision or whatever. Teofimo is a tremendous fighter and he seems to rise to the occasion on them kind of fights. So let me just say this: I will put Teofimo and Russell 1A 1B kind of deal. Let them fight it out to see. But those two, Teofimo's resume is something that you can't just ignore. You can't just throw it out the window because he does have a better resume than the other guys. But I think Gary Antoine Russell, his just ability and his versatility and his physical strength and his pedigree and his hunger, I think he's gonna be a tremendous fighter. But fighters like him, they gotta stay active though. A guy like him, you'll have him up and down performances if he's not active. So he should be pushing the fight at least twice a year. I mean, I don't think that's too much to ask. I think he should be pushing the fight twice a year right now because the dude don't even had 20 fights yet, and he's been a pro 9 years. So uh, other than that, um, yeah, Teofimo and Russell is the top, and then Hitchens and Puello are right there, and both they right there. Don't get me wrong, they right there. But I just think that those Teofimo and Gary Russell might have a little edge right now.
I like this, man. I like this a lot. Super Matias also fought on the same day for the IBF eliminator against Gabriel Valenzuela, and now they'll be mandatory for Richardson Hitchens. What do you think about that matchup?
I think Hitchens should have been 40. I know you don't like me saying this, but I don't think that he's a monster that everybody say he is. I
Hmm.
think Hitchens should have been 40. Um,
The first
I
time
like Hitchens.
when
Yeah,
Richardson was his mandatory.
yeah, I think he should have been 40. Uh, Richard Hitchens can fight. I think he was showing him too much respect. Like Hitchens can beat him if he on his game. He should have been 40. Um, um, that's a good fight. Matias definitely is a dog, and if he gets you in that grinding fight, he could beat you. He'll beat you up because he loved that. Hitchens got to just come up with a good game plan, and he got to be very determined for when that late round push come with the guy trying to walk downhill on him. He can't submit to him, and I think it's a winnable fight for him. Right now, it's about 50-50. It depends. They might make him go to Puerto Rico. I see it's a lot of fights over there with Matias. So it depends. It will come down to who the judges are and all that kind of stuff. Because I don't think Hitchens is going to stop him. So I think it would depend on a lot as far as who the judges are and things like that.
So tell me, you think that that fight should be in Puerto Rico versus New York, knowing there's like so many Puerto Ricans in New York as well, and Richardson's from out there?
I can't say where it should be. I'm not the promoter. Richard
Right.
Hitchens is the A side. He's the champion. That's up to him and his management where the fight should be. I can't really say that. But Hitchens for the Australian, I believe, in Puerto Rico for the title. So who
Right.
knows where it should be? You know what I mean? I can't say that. I am saying though that that does matter where the fight is. As far as how the judges get picked and things like that. And I don't believe Hitchens would score a KO. So I think that where the fight is, it matters. It's a 50-50 fight right now. I can't answer you who the winner is because I got to see all of the details.
Wow, wow, wow. So say if it is in Puerto Rico, who would be the A side knowing that Richardson's the undefeated champion?
Um, Matias would be.
Just because of the
We just
location.
saw. We just saw. Um, Jalil Hackett lose a close decision to a Puerto Rican in Puerto Rico with three Puerto Rican judges. We just seen that happen, and I'm
He's
not.
about to get
I
his
don't like.
rematch. He's about to get his rematch this weekend.
Well, I guarantee you, it won't be in Puerto Rico with three Puerto Rican judges versus Puerto
No,
Rican.
it's in
And I
Florida.
don't.
It's in Florida.
I don't mean to be saying that stuff in a negative way or anything like that. I got like trust me, I'm not saying in a negative way, but like that does matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, why you think you want to get a rematch? It does matter. I didn't believe it till I looked at BoxRec and I saw all three judges was from Puerto Rico, and the guy was Puerto Rican. It was a Puerto Rican judge. So I mean, and it's in Puerto Rico. So I would have to see like those things happen to fighters, and if that was to happen to Richard Hitchens, I wouldn't pick him to win the fight. So
Mm.
I gotta see, like, you know what I mean? Somebody, those things matter. One of the first things I ask is who the judges are gonna be for the fight. Like it does matter. And uh that's the only way I could tell you who's gonna win that fight unless I knew where it was gonna be at and who the judges was gonna be. But I give Richard Hitchens a good chance to win the fight. I think he can outbox him, but the judges is gonna matter in that fight.
Did you see this play coming though? Just knowing that they did fight, in Puerto Rico, Liam Paro and Richardson Hitchens, and now this is happening with, putting this play in fact. Did you see that that possibly could have, been a situation? Looking at it
Yeah,
as a coach.
because I couldn't understand why Hitchens and Perro was fighting in Puerto Rico. But again, I don't question that because who knows what kind of site fee was paid? Who knows what kind of agreement was done with the local promoters down there? You never know the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. And I know a lot of things happen that the general public doesn't have um knowledge about. So I don't really like comment like, why is that fight not there? Why is the fight not there? Because we don't know what kind of site fees get paid for these fights. But I did see. I thought to myself like, Dad, why is Hitchens going to Puerto Rico to fight an Australian? That was kind of. But I'm like, you know what? Probably got something to do with Matias. So it makes sense. It's boxing.
Hmm. You got to know what's going on. You
Yep.
got to know
And
what's
sometimes
going
you
on.
can